Hey peeps, this is just an update. This is an update in the ongoing saga of petty and basic criminals that have been hacking my accounts, stealing my work, and basically that have no life other than to sit on every single thing that I do. Yeah, there are actually people like this. Pretty pathetic. So, anyway, I am streaming to Twitch, and then I'm going to be restreaming to my other platforms. The reason is that there seems to be less interference on Twitch than especially like other ones like YouTube. So what's been going on? This is just a really brief overview, just because it's been a while since I explained the whole thing. So if you haven't watched the rest of them, this is what's going on. About the beginning of the year, I realized that my accounts, like my phones and devices, it seemed like they were being hacked and accessed. In April, I had definite proof of the hack. Called the FBI, they blew me off. Went and I contacted the local police. They were like, well, it sounds like it's, asked them to come out. They didn't. They just called. They said they were too busy. And they said, well, it sounds like a virus. It was not a virus. Anyway, wasn't going to get anything, obviously, from that. Another month goes by. And at this point, I was still with an unexpected journal. I'm not now. But I had, this is something that I helped found. Been working on for 6 years. Dedicated a huge amount of my life to. And I didn't discover, another board member shared a listing that there was basically a pirated version on Amazon. And it had an ISBN. I bought an ISBN that it was owned. Wasn't one of the free ISBNs that comes through Amazon. So I was like, okay, this is going to be simple. These ISBNs, you can track them, like who they're going to, who they go back to. So again, call the FBI, blow me off. They say just submit it to IC3. And then I also went into local police department because I said, I want to show you what's going on. And the officer said at that time that they had, since it was that type of thing, that this was online, that it wasn't really staged, there wasn't really anything they could do about it. It said they make notes of it, but that his recommendation was to just try to get it removed and stop the bleed, and then kind of take further actions from there, which I agree. But I just wanted somebody to see it, see what I was saying. And then I spent 2 months and I wrote because it seemed to me like it was probably at that point. So back in April, I had no idea who was involved. By May, I knew 2 people that were involved, and I thought it had to do with one particular thing. Probably did have something to do with that, but it wasn't the only thing. So, a big part of it has to do with men that can't handle when a woman disagrees with them or contradicts them. That's one of the things. So anyway, so that goes on. And I had asked a friend, because at this point I could tell my devices were access, my laptop, I could tell was being hacked. And I asked, and they said, just reformat your phone and get a new laptop, basically. That was the answer. And they told me, this person that I knew that I trusted their advice, told me that the FBI wouldn't get involved unless there was $7 million involved in that. So basically, even though online it says if you're hacked, these are the things you should do. You should contact the FBI. That wasn't actually true. And so that I kind of was on my own. Basically, that's the gist of it. So I spent the next 2 months documenting things that I saw, that because I had ID'd this sock puppet network, and I could tell they were engaging in criminal activities online. So I spent 2 months documenting all that. It's 198 pages, and I thought most of it was the issue was because I had been calling them out. I submitted that on July 28th to tips@fbi.com, and also tips.fbi.gov, I guess it is, and also to IC3. I also submitted a complaint to the Department of Justice because of, I felt like, they were dismissing what I had said because, a woman with a Hispanic last name. And I also submitted a complaint for the same reason to the Justice Department because a year before, I had filed a complaint with the Texas Attorney General's office about skimming on Amazon, and I never got a response. Now, I will say this, that since then I've discovered that some of the issues I've been having with like my emails and, delayed messages and all that the sabotage on my accounts was going way, way back further than when I started calling out the sock puppets. So it's entirely possible that somebody from the Texas Attorney General's office tried to contact me and it didn't get through. It's entirely possible. So anyway, the only response I got back from all of that was from the Department of Justice, basically dismissing those two complaints and said, basically they weren't going to do anything with it. Never got contacted from the FBI, nothing. So anyway, the day after I submitted that, I discovered that I saw that my work had been plagiarized. I mean, pretty dramatically. And I started realizing that there was more to it than just me tripping across some activities of this criminal syndicate online, that they had been systematically stealing my work. And I don't think it's just ghostwriters. I think that it's it's actually that my work was used to train like an AI chatbot for Christian content. That's what it looks like to me, because it's just way too widespread. Like, it's just, so this is what I'm going to say. So this is what I discovered today. Two things. So the first thing, just having to do with AI. I said in my first live stream, and if you go back and watch that 3-hour live stream, you'll see where they cut things out. And what I said in that live stream, I don't know if I still have it up here or if I deleted it. I'm gonna have to start a new folder on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start a new folder for these hacked updates, because if you don't know, on StreamYard, you can have like different brand folders and save different things, and I need to have different things uploaded for this versus my Kabul Hope updates. But anyway, so what I discovered today was that so there's actually lawsuits that were filed earlier, maybe it was late last year, earlier this year, by some major newspapers against Microsoft and OpenAI because for basically stealing their work. And then this was an article that I came across on Twitter where it says that OpenAI is going to they're trying to raise more funding for a new chatbot that will do reasoning. This is what they're doing. So here's what I will have to say. So the problem is that, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing of my work, AI is not intelligent at all. It's not. What I said in that initial live stream is that AI does not qualify. It only quantifies. It can only, what it does, it just collects information. It does not compose. So what it's doing when it's collecting all these words and all this content is that it's just assembling them, and it's saying, okay, we know that these words are about similar topics, and it's just like putting them together. But the thing is, and it's super, I've noticed this about like, theological content, because that's basically what I write. It's really, really bad. Really bad. That's what I'm saying. It cannot qualify information. It cannot qualify information. It's not intelligent. It doesn't know what is a good answer versus a bad answer. It's just anything can be manipulated. The other thing that I said is that whoever controls the numbers controls the algorithm. And so if there's a bunch of garbage being fed into the pool that AI is drawing from, then the output is going to be garbage, and AI has no way to assess that. In my opinion, AI is a big of a scam as Elizabeth Holmes Theranos. That's what it looks like to me. It is nothing more than systematized plagiarism. I have seen my stuff literally all over the place. All over the place. I did not give permission for my work to be fed into an AI model and to be used in other people's work. Because you know what they're doing? They're tanking me, and that's the thing. It actually works in. Part of it is like my site has been deliberately sabotaged, and I think part of it is to cover up the theft, but also just the fact that there is so much duplicate content, like my words that I wrote going out, like other people are using. I mean, I've seen it on major sites, like things I'm like, this is totally my work. There was one that I saw, and they had like this whole little reflection series, and I was like, I showed it to my mom. I said, look at this. And I said, look at this prayer. And she said, that's exactly what you say in your Bible says. I said, I know. I mean, they literally, it's either a ghostwriter, a plagiarizing ghostwriter that basically just copies everything I do and puts it up, or it's an AI trained chatbot based on my work that's spitting out duplicate stuff that, I did not give permission for that. So anyway, they're going on a new round of funding for something what I wonder is, who are they going to be stealing from for this one? Because let me tell you, it's not what is there. It's not a mind, a sentient being that is composing things. It's just widespread intellectual property theft. That's what it is. This is what I've seen. So anyway, that adds a whole new wrinkle too, doesn't it? Because the amount of effort that has gone into destroying basically and tanking everything that I have, like the amount of it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, I've been trying to secure my accounts, but I mean, when I have time, I'll put together videos of, like, literally, there is one on my YouTube channel. It's like a 2-minute video of they're in my iPad, and I'm trying to get in, and they're like, basically, it goes on for 2 minutes. You can literally see it. So anyway, but it adds a whole new wrinkle into who's funding the attacks on me, doesn't it? So one of them is, what it seems to me is like, and this is the thing, that the massive hacking started on August 5th. I reformatted my phone. Like I said, I'm positive that it came through. There was like it's a T-Mobile network. It's on a Google Pixel, and I'm positive the apps are corrupted. And it just kind of makes you wonder, like, who's putting money behind it? Because I did that 3-hour live stream on August 4th, and all that started I reformatted my phone, and then it was just all over after that. My Facebook accounts and Instagram accounts have been hijacked. I discovered yesterday that there's even a built-in feature in Meta's account manager to swap accounts. I was thinking they must have had some program to do this. No, it's just a feature of Meta. Anyway, so there's that. So now there's also Microsoft's whole initiative that basically, could be a motivation for coming after me. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, there's a lot of other people going after Microsoft. I mean, there's a court case that has been filed and is in place. But, it takes time to get through the courts, and they can do a lot of damage to individuals, like in the interim, right? So there's that. And but that was one of the things I discovered. The other thing, and this just has to do with the title, like checking your subscriptions. So I mentioned yesterday that I had been looking at my Instagram account, looked to me like it was a fake account. I'm following these accounts. I know that I had never followed. This was one of these agency, and like it looks to me like they had some of these. This was a sock puppet account that they used to follow some of their clients, and based on some of the accounts, I could tell who some of those clients were. Know where some of the operators were because they left the devices logged in. I mean, these people think they're really slick. It's just that they're really not that slick. It's just that nobody has really been looking at, the things that they're doing. But then I started looking at my subscriptions on YouTube on my main account. So I have like my Race to Walk, the main channel that I publish on, and I have some other accounts that I will just like watch random things. So I'm not watching those things, like the random stuff on my Race to Walk channel. And so I'm just getting like weird things. Like I'll get notifications of accounts I've never followed and never heard of, and they're coming through on my phone. And so I was thinking, this has got to be, they've got to be manipulating the notifications. And I already have evidence that the engagement's been manually wiped on my accounts. Some of the videos on my accounts have been sabotaged. Some of the watch time, it's just been, the views and watch time has been wiped, erased on a lot of them. Like things I've had for over a decade that had thousands of views are showing as 0. I mean, they've just like totally gone overboard on this. And I've seen all this interference with my live streams, tons of stuff. I won't get into that, but I just want to go through and look at my subscriptions. This is just an example. So I went through and I was going through and I'm like, do I even recognize these channels? So they have been, and I'm pretty positive that this is still my account. I don't think that they could have moved all this stuff like they do on Meta, but I am positive that there is, not only is there back end access to editing the metrics, but it's also they're manipulating the subscribers, your subscriptions. So I have seen, this is the thing, like I said, if you've subscribed to me or if you've watched and you think you have, you probably should check because you may not be. You might also want to check your other subscriptions because all of these, never seen them before, never subscribed to them. These are literally like, I'm positive, this is what I think it is. I don't think I have this screenshot up, but I did show a slide. I don't think I have it. I did show a slide. It was from Social Pilot, and they were showing how algorithms work and how it determines like what you're going to be seeing in your feed, right? And so whatever people who watch your stuff or that you watch, what they watch, that's how it determines, like on any social media platform. So the circle that you're in determines what you're going to see, right? What gets suggested to you. So all of these I've never seen before. And I'm positive that it's probably, the subscriptions have probably been manipulated by whoever sabotaging my account. And it could be for two things. Maybe for, number one, for controlling what shows up in my feed and what comes in through my notifications. The second thing, to control what my own videos, what kind of videos they get aligned with. It's also sabotage. So anyway, this is going on the back end of YouTube. And what I've said before, like the whole thing with T-Mobile, where like my security answer had been changed. Which I had not done. Either these and like all the modification, like it's obvious that there are some of these agencies that have back end access to posts that are not theirs because they can edit things that I can't even on my own post on Twitter. So it's either that these companies, these social media platforms, they are either complicit or they're incompetent. Either they know what's going on and they're okay with it, or there's so much corruption within the company that they have no idea what's going on. So here's the thing, like I was talking about, before, there's a reason that there are laws against monopolies. There's a reason that when companies get too big, they get broken up. And part of it is that it's not only about that large companies cause an imbalance in the marketplace and kill competition, but also when there isn't competition, they don't even need to manage effectively. They don't need to do business well because they don't have to. They just collect the money, and then everybody else suffers the consequences of whatever they choose to let go on within, this service or whatever it is that they're doing. So anyway, so that's what I discovered today. That was today. And like I said, the petty and basic criminals. I know how this ends. Again, every single day that there's a delay, more gets revealed, more people are going to end up going down. No one's gonna get away with anything. If you had not been an obstructionist way back when first started like making complaints, if people had actually taken action, probably would have just been a couple of people that had taken the fall, and I would have never known about all the rest of it. But because you didn't, because of all the gaslighting and the obstruction, there's just going to be more people that take the fall. Because there's a lot of people that thought that they could just go along with the corruption and no one would ever find out. And that's not going to be the case. Everybody that's involved is going to be held to account. Everybody will. I'm sure you probably doubt me on this, but this is the thing. If the people that were actually instigating this actually had the control that they thought they did and that you think they have, I wouldn't be talking to you here right now. That's the reality. Like I said, I know how this turns out. I know how it ends. I had a word from God. So if God told you differently, then we can have a conversation about that. But until then, I think you're probably on some pretty shaky ground. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to have a great day. I don't know about you. I sleep well at night. But when you always have to be worrying about being found out, I'm sure that you don't. So anyway, see you next time.